everybody, how's it going? It's Ecxelsior and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is just going to be an honest review of the FN SCAR 17. At the end of the video we'll also be including just a step-by-step attachments guide that I've used that I've found the most success with it. This gun has a lot of different setups and strategies that people can use, but the one that I'll show at the end is kind of the one that's worked best for me so far. A lot of people said that they love it, a lot of people say that they hate it. Haven't really seen too much middle ground. After reviewing it, I can't say that I'm super fond of it myself, but I'll leave it up to you guys to decide after watching today's video. The gameplay that you're going to see in the background is just a good game that I had on Shoot House while recording and preparing for this video. I'll say up front that this is not the normal kind of gameplay that I get with this gun. Normally it's a little bit lower. So with all that being said, let's just get right into the pros and cons of it. So to start off, I think everyone can kind of agree that this gun is very attachment dependent. If you want to do CQB, or if you want to do longer range, or if you want to do anything in the middle, you really got to have the right attachment setup for it. In the stock form, it's got a lot of recoil when compared to similar ARs, so you really have to try to temper that down with a compensator or a longer barrel. Another big issue with it is that the 20 round mag that you start off with just isn't competitive, and neither does the starting amount of ammo, because that starting amount of ammo is going to be based strictly off of those 20 round mags in your pocket for it. So it's just not enough ammo to really have a long gameplay. Even the 25 or 30 round mags honestly make it hard to take on multiple enemies as well, especially when you compare things like the Kilo and M4 and M13 that start off with a lot more ammo. So you can have those longer gunfights where you can switch from enemy to enemy without running out of ammo right in the middle of your gunfight and kind of getting caught with your pants down on it. With that being said, it's very easy to find yourself in situations where you're just completely out of ammo. One of the things that you can do to kind of counteract that is run Scavenger, but I've found that Scavenger is kind of a waste of a very valuable perk, so you kind of have to use that at your own discretion. If you think that you're going to live longer than 2 or 3 gunfights, maybe it would be useful, unless if you just plan on picking up a gun off the ground off somebody else and just kind of running with that for a while. That's a strategy as well, and honestly I'd be lying if I said that wasn't what I ran into a lot as well. Another issue is that the gun just honestly feels really heavy when running around. It just has a slow ADS. Your movement speed, mobility is pretty low. It just feels kind of clunky when you're trying to get into those gunfights and maneuver around the map, especially when you compare it to some of the SMGs or running no stock or bumper stock on some of the ARs. It's just not really up there. And then with that, the rate of fire is super low as well. So if you find yourself up against an M13 or M4 in close range, there's a pretty good chance that just their rate of fire is just going to eat you alive before you have enough chance to really get into them and put down the damage that the gun is really capable of. And kind of going back to something a little bit earlier, is that it can't really turn into a great CQB or a DMR without really just going to town on the attachments. Things like that, the M13 and M4 are really able to turn into either or. With the SOCOM rounds or the blackout rounds, you can turn either of those guns into longer range, or with their faster fire rates, you can take off the stock, throw on a shorter barrel, and you're there for close range. Not so much for this one. And it may sound like I'm being really negative with this gun, but it's, again, just been my experience with it. Some of the pros on it, though, is that if you are an accurate player, you can get a lot of damage downrange in a relatively quick amount of time. If you have to lay down those suppressing fire shots, it's not going to be the gun for you, because again, you're going to run out of ammo before you really even know what to do with it. That being said, going back to an earlier point, if you do FrankenSmith it, you can end up with very low recoil on the gun. You can see videos out there where people are getting nukes when they're running compensator and the long barrel and using the right stocks and all that, but you have to be very specific on what you're putting on the gun. And I know that that's kind of in general the status for most guns, but this gun is even more so. But if you do have that good recoil control, this gun is pretty good at medium to long range. You have to have patience with it, learn your way around it, and at some point it'll get a little more rewarding, but you have to really take your time with it. And with that, the final really pro to it is that the larger caliber really lends itself to getting more kills through objects. So if you slap on FMJ or anything like that, can penetrate those objects a little bit better and get kills through walls and in areas that you might not otherwise be able to. So from here we'll actually get on the gunsmith and actually break down, what kind of class setup I've got running on this thing and why I've chosen what I have on it. So first you'll notice that I've got a clever little name of Please No, and that's because, as I kind of mentioned earlier, not the biggest fan of this gun. It works, but if I have my choice, I'm probably going to steer away from it. But from there we'll actually get on the gunsmith. If you have the compensator, it's a pretty decent choice for stability and recoil. I haven't played it enough to actually unlock that, and I probably won't in the grand scheme of things. For the barrel, I'm running the Forge Tac 17.2 just because I find that to be the best mixture of mobility and just being able to keep that range out there. The Forge Tac 20 is pretty good as well, but just the movement speed, the hindrance just doesn't really help itself when it's already a pretty slow weapon off the get-go. I've got the laser going for it just because, anything that can help out with the mobility, hip fire, being able to acquire your target sooner after sprinting is really going to help this thing out. It needs all the help that it can really get in that area, which again lends itself to why I'm using the collapsible stock. Again, just the movement speed, ADS, is really going to come in key for this, especially on smaller maps. If you're doing ground war, this may not be necessary. Maybe you can do something else, but I found that this is the better one for most general engagements. And with most of my weapons, I also run the Commando foregrip just because it helps out with the stability and limiting recoil to a more manageable amount without having to get into some crazy customization on the gun itself. To the point earlier about you really need to have more rounds for this thing. Again, I haven't progressed far enough in to unlock the 30 round mag. The 25 round mag is really a lifesaver. 20 rounds just isn't enough in almost any situation, so you're going to need to at least run the 25. And another thing that you could do is actually run a tape in the back using, I would recommend the granulated grip tape. I wouldn't recommend the stippled grip tape, but granulated grip tape isn't a bad option as well if that's kind of your flavor. I don't run any perks on any of my weapons either. Again, I just feel like that's kind of a waste of an attachment, especially on this gun where literally every attachment counts. With that being said, let me know what your thoughts are, if you love it, if you hate it, if there's things that can be done to improve it, or anything else in the comment section below. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video just as much as I enjoyed making it, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.